Okay, so everyone say hi recording, we're being recorded. So you had a research activity this week and now we're gonna discuss it as a group. So I recommend that you open up your file and if you think of any improvements you can make to your answers, considering the discussion we will have, you can make them. Or if you feel like you can tell us something different to what is being discussed based on your answer, also bring it up. That's what participation is for. And if you feel like you can improve your file after today's discussion, you may upload it before tomorrow at 1:30. Okay? So technically, we don't have a sesión asincrónica tomorrow because there's no class after 12:30. But if you want to make an improvement, you can make it now or tomorrow morning and still upload it before 1:30. Okay? Okie dokie. Now I am going to share my screen. So all of you should have access to a file where you listed these cases, these examples, and you decided if each one of them covered imperialism, colonialism, expansionism, or annexation, correct? So participating, tell me, example number 1, Belgian Congo. Which of the 4 is it? No, wait, before this, can someone give us a quick review of what imperialism, expansionism, colonialism, and annexation are? Just quickly, they mean these things.
Imperialism and expansionism are justification for actions and not actions like themselves, like colonialism. Imperialism is a government policy that seeks to increase the government's power by controlling their territories in an unequal manner. In an unequal manner, and expansionism is also a government policy that seeks to increase a government's power by controlling other territories in an equal manner.
Very good.
Yes. Colonialism and annexation are actions. Colonialism is a settlement of a foreign land, usually maintaining a community's original culture and getting resources from those places.
Very good. Any questions, anyone? Vanessa just gave us a brilliant review, like that. 5 seconds. Any questions? You sure? Sabina, any questions?
No.
En el momento que diga, okay, Belgian Congo, va a ser como, no, esperen. Okay. But oh well, routine. So, Belgian Congo. It didn't happen. Anyway, I'm kidding, es broma. So, Belgian Congo, is it imperialism, expansionism, colonialism, or annexation? Anyone? Shanat, what is it?
Imperialism, annexation, and colonialism.
Why?
Imperialism, because the European arrived to Congo in order to gain more power in territory, but they didn't do it in an equal way. They do it in an unequal way. I'm sorry.
No, this inequality is not about the people, right? It's not that the Congolese were unequal to the Belgians. It's that Belgium and the Congo were not equal, right?
Well, let's see. It was also imperialism when the Belgian government took power over it because it was a decision of government to increase their power.
Okay, very good. Now, was it colonialism?
Yes, because when Congo became a Belgian colony, Belgians started to go to Congo and live there. They could stay with their culture, but they couldn't stay over in the government.
Okay, very good. Any questions? Anyone? Great.
Créditos para Diana.
Now we are going to talk about the westward expansion of the United States. So Here we're not talking about the United States territories like Puerto Rico or the Philippines or whatever. We're talking about the state after the independence of the United States, where the government purchases Louisiana, annexes Texas, and obtains the Mexican cession and the Oregon Territory, right? So this process, is it imperialism, expansionism, colonialism, or annexation? Alejandra, do you have an answer?
Yes, it was expansionism because the newly acquired territories were considered equals to other parts of the United States and had the same rights and representation.
And at the same time, the manifest destiny was a specific policy to increase the US government's power, right?
Yes.
Remember, there's two elements to imperialism and expansionism. And what else?
And it was also colonialism because original citizens were to inhabit those territories and adapt them to the values and way of living of the US.
Excellent. So the Wild West narrative, right? So literally Americans moving to all these territories and being like, this is going to be part of America. We're creating our communities. Yeah. Now, the only exception to that would be the Mormons in Utah, but even they were like, yes, we're American. So now, anything else? Is it annexation?
No.
No.
No, yes, because it formed part of the US.
Well, they added
later.
territory to a previous
Yes.
territory, right? So
Yes.
these new territories were added to what was the United States. Okay, excellent answers. Now, moving on to the United States territories, also known as the American Empire, although that is not an official term. Let's see, who's going to answer? Santiago, do you have an answer?
This is imperialism because none of these territories are actually American.
What do you mean by actually American?
Like, well, not that they are not equal to normal American states.
Do we hear the state of Midway or the state of American Samoa? We do not.
No.
But it was a policy to expand the United States' power, right? Okay, very good. Now, does it stop being imperialism because some of these territories actually became US states, like Hawaii and Alaska?
No.
Okay, very good. Remember, because we're looking at a specific period in time, right? Okay, very good. Any questions? Anyone? Okay, good. That every time I say that, I think of Finding Nemo when the shark is like, sounds good. Now, a large example, very diverse, the British Empire. Anyone got an answer? Is it imperialism, expansionism, colonialism, or annexation? Now, this is kind of difficult because it shows every territory that was part of the British Empire at some point without any timestamps, although it does underline the ones that are still British territories. But, and it's a big but, you need to tell me the definitions of the concepts and apply them with examples. I'm not asking for a careful list of like, Cyprus is this, India is this, Somaliland is this, blah, blah, blah. But if you say the four of them are present, you need to tell me examples. So, who wants to go for it?
Me.
Who? Eduardo?
Yes.
Tell us.
It is imperialism and colonialism because, well, when it started spreading among the world, all the territories Britain conquered established colonies or protectorates, or let me see.
So there was a specific policy to expand their power, right? And it was officially known as the British Empire. It was an empire. They knew what it was. They called it an empire. But all these colonies were not equal to Great Britain, right?
Yes.
Excellent. And what else?
Also, they they got to rule over some territories by companies of some individuals, like mostly in India.
The East India Company.
Yes. And well, then more at this time, they're like somehow what was it? Expansionism, because some of the territories they had conquered before now are in the British Commonwealth.
But what does that have to do with
Which-
expansionism?
They are not like much inferior to Britain.
Okay, so you're saying with when they become dominions, well,
Yes.
no, when they become realms, then they become equals to Great Britain, even though they share the same government, right?
Yes.
So we have Queen Elizabeth of II is Queen of Great Britain, but also Queen of Canada, and Queen of Australia, and so on. Yeah, very good. Now, would we find colonialism in any of these?
Yes, like the 13 colonies, the best example of them.
Very good. Other examples are, is it normal that when we think of Australia, which is in Asia, we think of white people who speak English?
Yes.
That's colonialism, right? That's
Also in
people
South Africa.
settling this foreign land. Okay, and do we see any annexations here?
No, not really.
Anyone care to participate? Because we see some examples of annexation in the cases of, give me a second, when Great Britain annexes Scotland and Ireland, or when they pull colonies together, like when they created the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, right? So it's territories being connected to other territories. Because in the case of Great Britain and Scotland and Ireland became a part of the United Kingdom, right? So in that case, we could talk about an annexation, even though they're kind of isolated examples. But good. Any questions? Anyone? Any other interpretations? No? So, next example.
Well,
Yes?
I have one question. There it says the British Antarctic Territory at the bottom part. Is that like annexation?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a random part of Antarctica that the British are like, this belongs to us.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now we have the Italian Empire, which is kind of a complicated example because we have three historical stages here. The first stage is mostly about the unification of Italy, which happened in 1870. Okay, unification of Italy. So Piemonte, Sardinia, north of Italy, with the help of Garibaldi and Camillo di Cavour and these liberal nationalist-minded people, are like, we are gonna create a new country that is gonna be called Italy. And even though we speak Piemontese, we're gonna say we speak Italian. And even though all the people in this peninsula are very diverse, we're all gonna be Italians, right? So they make Italy. Later on, Italy is invited to the Berlin Conference, where European countries partition Africa to give each other to obtain colonies, and that is when Italy obtains Libya and Somalia and Eritrea, right? So in this case, especially Libya, looks like a big square of land, but it's actually mostly desert. And that's an example of how Italy had kind of crappy colonies, mostly because it was one of the weaker, newer countries in the Berlin Conference. So they wanted to be able to have a big space as their own in the map, but in practice, it wasn't as effective, right? So that's another part. And then a third stage is into the 20th century with Benito Mussolini as prime minister. They conquer Ethiopia, which is what I just colored. And that's when the king of Italy is also known as Emperor of Ethiopia. Okay? So in these three stages, this map is focusing on the second stage, when they obtained colonies in Africa after the Berlin Conference. So, which is it? Imperialism, expansionism, colonialism, annexation? Am I gonna have to select a volunteer? Okay, Alexa, you have an answer? Is Alexa ignoring us? Sounds like she is. It's a ringing silence. Okay, Leonardo, you have an answer? Also ignoring us. Okay. Fernanda, you have an answer?
Yes, China.
Tell us.
It would be imperialism and annexation.
Mm-hmm.
Since according to the New World Encyclopedia, Italy's colonies, mainly Somalia, Italian, East Africa, and Ethiopia, were all under fascist.
So that's
Rule
that's the third stage, right?
Yes, I guess that's what it says.
Yeah.
Well, the colonies weren't considered as important as Italy itself.
Excellent. Right? And they were part of a government policy to increase Italy's power, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were not equal to the Kingdom of Italy. They were under the domination of the Kingdom of Italy.
Yeah, and they had no wish to establish political or commercial relationships. I didn't know.
Uh-huh. Good job. Was there colonialism?
Maybe.
So to a small scale, but there was, right? Mostly in the seaports, because the thing is, if you notice, even nowadays, a lot of the capitals of African countries are on the coast because they're colonial capitals. They are used specifically to get resources out of the country and back to Europe. So especially in Somalia and Libya, the cities are all in the coast and they're all Italian cities. Their centro histórico is completely Italian, and they have a lot of Italian influence in their cuisine, their language, etc. Because Italians moved there to handle things. Okay, any questions? Who's saying? Elisa, you say also colonialism and what? Teresita, do you know what Elisa means?
No, I just commented on her message and on her text that like they wanted there to be colonialism, but it wasn't really successful because.
But are you talking about Italians?
Yes.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't large scale like with the British in Australia, for example. But yes. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? We might actually cover all the cases. This is the first time. Okay. Russian expansion. So the main point here is this is the expansion of Russia, the Russian Empire, before 1914. So before all the campaigns pursued by the Soviet Union. This is Russian Empire. And it expands eastward when the Kievan Rus becomes Russia. And also it takes control of regions that are colored differently here, like the Caucasus, which is where Armenia, Azerbaijan, and all those countries are. Also Central Asia, with Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and all the stans. And also Amur, which they kind of annexed from China. And also some protectorates like Persia and Outer Mongolia. So is this imperialism? Oh, and Poland and Finland, right? Poland and Finland. So is this expansionism, imperialism, colonialism, or annexation? Or all of them at different points? What?
It is mostly expansionism.
Who's talking?
Santiago.
Santiago? Okay, mostly expansionism. Why?
because in the Russian constitution it says that Russia is one indivisible.
Well, Russia nowadays.
No, it was
Oh,
when
the
the
Ru-
Russian.
Oh, the first constitution. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of it is expansionism, right? When new territory becomes part of Russia, definitely a government policy to increase Russia's power and a sense of equality, right? Because you have Yakutsk over here, which is equal to Moscow, right? Same part. Both are part of Russia. But, and it's a big but. What about the Caucasus, Poland, or the Caucasus, or Kazakhstan, or Finland? Is that also expansionism?
No, they were imperialism
Why?
because they also pay taxes and all that stuff,
What does that have to do with imperialism?
and that they were in an unequal way.
Oh, you mean tribute? Because that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean true.
Yeah, because they were tributaries to Russia, right? So they were separate and inferior. Yeah. Okay, good job. Now, do we see any colonialism here? Did you find any sources that mentioned the word Russification? No? Anyone? Silence. Anyone? Diana, did you find colonialism in the case of Russia?
I didn't.
Well, there actually was, and there was so much colonialism that the Russians actually have their own word for it, which is Russification, which is is kind of like the Wild West dynamic, where the Russian government conquers these new territories and sends a bunch of Russians to live there. And then any other time they want to make decisions about it, they can say, oh, it's part of Russia. There's Russians living there. Even though the original population was not Russian. Yeah?
And they just take the culture and the language, or they keep theirs?
No, they stay Russian, but they just move up to other places and later claim that those territories are originally part of Russia because there's Russians there.
So and what about the people that live there?
They tend to be ignored or erased from history. That's actually a lot of what happened in places like Kazakhstan, where the Russian government and the Soviet government under Stalin especially placed Russian communities, Russian colonies in the south of Kazakhstan, and then they had an excuse to include all of Kazakhstan in their own country, in their own territory. Because they were like, if we surround all the Russian communities, this is the shape of Russia, even though the original Kazakh communities were already there, right? Okay, very good, very good. Any questions? Okay, so we got through most of the examples. We are very much, our time's up for now. So if you want to improve your answers, you can do so before tomorrow at 1:30. Upload it to Blackboard again with your names. And I will, I'll see you on Wednesday. Take care, everyone.